Wanted to ask about Jalen Travis. He mentioned taking you on a tour, and Mao said that was the first time he'd ever had a recruit take him on a tour. A, is that the case with you? And B, what was that like to just get a sense of what he's like and a sense of what he was just coming out of?
Well, it was incredible. Yeah, we went, and maybe I was on the second trip in to Princeton. It was obviously for me in history and I think I just got done watching Oppenheimer, and actually a lot of that took place on campus, and so it was incredible. I mean, number one, I was so fascinated with Jalen's a great football player, and that's great. The human, what he stands for, what he's done in his career already in terms of working in Washington, D.C., working in the White House for, his internships in the summer, what his purpose is and mission in life. To me, that is obviously what we're lacking globally across the board. And so to understand where some of those roots have come from, understanding really what he's about and certainly what he learned. I was probably jealous because I kind of want to take the classes he was in and be able to do some of the things he was doing. Just, enamored by it. But obviously it shows his maturity, and, I think getting another gauge on exactly who he was and what he was built upon. We knew Jalen, the high school player. It was great to kind of see where he had grown in the last 4 years for sure.
And from a football perspective, his size leaps out the page, his athleticism does. Mao said he's like a zombie going out trying to eat people. What has it meant bringing him to that group and giving you a true 8, 9 guys you can fully trust, and then B, how good is that group playing?
It's growing, and I would say Jalen's been a big part of the growth process. I think he has brought in a different perspective. He brings senior leadership and experiences that are different from some of the guys in our own program. And, I think he also has come with a mission, not only for himself, but as I told Jalen in this journey, like, don't pick us because you just want to go to the NFL. Pick us because you want to come here and make an impact, and come here because you want to be a great senior leader. Come here because you want to maybe help us grow as a program, but equally maybe we can help you, not just as a football player, but continue in your purpose in life. And so it's been an unbelievable partnership. I know it was rocky early on just with some of the health stuff that he had to go through, but I think even how he handled that, the way he was a great teammate through that, the way he took great senior leadership with this team, it's been really a joy to watch. So I think he's had a huge impact on that offensive line for sure.
You guys are no stranger to tough environments, obviously going to Iowa in week 2. How important was it for this team to get some experience in close games in a tough environment as you prepare for West Virginia?
Yeah, we've been in 2 tough road environments already, and I think there's value to that. What West Virginia will be another level of excitement. They've got a phenomenal team. They've got one of the greatest fan bases in the country in terms of, the pride that they have for their Mountaineers, and obviously a really special team that they have going on too right now. So they've got a lot to be excited about. So it'd be a really, really great football environment. I think, again, this is why you play college football, to play in games like this and play in moments like this, and certainly play on a stage like this. So it's great to have a little bit of equity in it, but again, we'll have to be our best on Saturday night if you want to be a team that's got the ability to compete and play and try to win football games on the road.
I'll ask my weekly injury, Brzezina, DP, how are they?
Yeah, I think we're a lot better today than we were probably where we felt Saturday. I think, Kale was out there at practice today, which was great to see. I didn't know if we thought that would happen. DP was back to full go, which was really positive. And I would say Kale, it's not a guarantee that he'll be ready, but I do think he's a lot closer than we thought he would be. So, we'll kind of just keep navigating that as we get through the week.
How would you describe what's happened to your linebackers in terms of health going back to March?
Yeah. It's part of football, and it's why you tried to build your team with depth. And obviously, it's challenging, but what it's provided some guys with some great opportunities to step in and play. And I think a little bit of credit to Coach Cratch. I think he's done such a really good job of, kind of keeping the standard of, man, we're going to keep playing good football. We have a lot of really good players. I think we felt like there was a lot of depth in that linebacker room before the season started. And, it's just the area right now that's gotten hit and forced to, the next guy up has had to go in and play good football. And, man, you still got a guy like Jack Sadowski who started every game. Obviously Cooper Ebel's playing great football. So there's a lot of guys in there that have played good football and will only continue to play good football. And some young guys, as you saw on Saturday, some guys had first-time opportunity to go in and really stepped in and played good football for us.
Sadowski, I don't think he played Saturday. Is he just injury or?
Yeah, no, I think we were kind of trying to navigate exactly, what to do with Jack. We were, I think, in limbo a little bit of, do we redshirt him, do we not, just because he didn't get that opportunity a year ago. I think we were trying to be wise more than we were trying to do anything else. And, I think he had been at that 4-game mark, so we kind of just wanted to navigate it. But, I think Jack's such a great team player. I think he wants to do what's best for the team. And, I think we'll, obviously if Cale wouldn't go, he'd be a guy that certainly will be ready to go and help us go play great football.
Hey, Matt. Eric Olson with the Associated Press visiting today.
Yeah.
Do you let your guys celebrate being 5-0?
No, yeah, great question. I think the reality of it is we try to appreciate, each small victory, but we understand that the reality of a football season, and makes it very unique, that, you're really judged by who you are at the end of the year and who you become through this journey. And the season, every season is a journey, and I think we certainly understand that. And, I think that's a nice thing about being in a place as long as we've been now, this going in our 9th season, and we've had moments where we've had success and how do you handle that? How do you sustain it? I think we have always been very process-oriented here rather than being very outcome-oriented. And, I think the reality of it is we've got great senior leadership that has always allowed that process to kind of nail home. And whatever we did, positive or negative, win or loss, we flush it really fast on Sunday. We try to grow and be humble enough as coaches and players to grow from it, and then, get ourselves ready to go for the next week. So I think it's really where we've tried to live.
That said, talking to a couple players before you came up, they said that over the winter and even every day you pound the message, let's do something we haven't done in 133 years.
Yeah.
Although by my count, you only have been playing for 128.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me on that. What's kind of the philosophy on that messaging?
Yeah, well, I think has been 133 football seasons here at Iowa State. And I think the message is nobody's done it here. And nobody's ever been able to sustain it over the course of an entire season. We still haven't won at least major conference championship outright. And the reality of it is those things are really hard to do. And it's certainly been very hard to do here because it's never happened. And so the reality of it is it's hard enough to do in Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State, but obviously it's been very hard to do here at Iowa State. And so, I think this team and understanding the value of, man, how do you put some of these building blocks together to continue to grow? Again, we've had great moments here, and we've been able to do some great things and, been on the verge of some of these things. And, I think those are all great learning blocks for us, and you learn from it, you grow from it, and you just try to continue to be your best every day. And it's hard to do, hard for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds to do, and certainly hard to ask 18 to 22-year-olds to do it. So.
Matt, when you lose a guy like TJ Tampa, just what do you have to say about the job John Tez has done stepping up, filling that gap, and leading the secondary this season?
Yeah, he's been probably one of the great highlights for me of our season so far. I don't know if anybody's played. We've had some guys, Malik is playing really good football right now, and I would say John Tez as well. I mean, those two have been consistently, man, high end on defense. And I talked a lot about John Tez in our offseason here. He was a guy, when you talk about January, February, March, April, May, those months where nobody gets to see the byproduct of the time, effort, and energy that you put into your craft. He was elite, and he kind of stepped in with some great leadership ability, but he led by example, how he came to work every day. Man, the last guy usually to leave most nights when I was leaving, that guy was still in here training. And so to watch him, especially the last two games, man, he's made, I would say probably, monumental plays in terms of us winning the game type plays. And it's awesome to see his hard work, his effort be rewarded right now.
What would you say are the biggest ways that he's evolved as a player since last season?
Well, I would just say the ability to be consistent. It's kind of the word of like, man, if you want to win games, if you want to play great football, can you be consistent every day? And I think he really did a great job with his habits, nutritionally, physically, really cultivating that this offseason. And I think what it's allowed him to do is show up and play great football every Saturday. He's one of our best practice players, and so it doesn't always surprise me that he plays really great on Saturday, because how he prepares is really fun to watch.
Last one for me. He mentioned TJ was a big mentor for him, kind of like an older brother. Did you witness that firsthand, and do you have any stories you could share?
Yeah, I don't know stories. I just say this. I think one of the great benefits that we have right now that we're fortunate to have is, it kind of started with Anthony Johnson, who I feel like passed it on to TJ Tampa, and then TJ now passing on to Darian and John Tez. And, I think what that passing of it is, hey, this is what it takes to be really successful. And, hey, let me pull you along with me as I go on this journey to become my very best. Maybe I can help you along the way. And honestly, that's really what great leadership looks like. And, we've been fortunate to have great leaders in our program, and that secondary certainly been fortunate to have great leaders. And it's fun to watch some new ones starting to evolve right now.
Similar line of questioning with the secondary. I wanted to ask about Deshaun James's targeting penalty on Saturday. I saw you communicating with an official after that was thrown.
Is that good communicating? It's exactly right. Yeah.
I decided to use that.
I
word
appreciate
strategically.
that. That's classy.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's a situation where, at least in my opinion, the defender can't really do anything but attack the play that way. How do you coach that differently, or can you coach that any differently?
I don't think you can, and I think that's one of the things. Hopefully, and again, it's not on the officials. The officials are that's the ledger of the law, and so I think what you hope is some of those things have been taken out of the game. Obviously, the targeting piece is put into the game for player safety, and we all agree with that and understand that. But a situation like that, the penalty, is it right? Number one. Number two, is it in the best interest of the game, and certainly the student athletes who are getting probably punished on that penalty. So I think those are things you hope get looked at in the offseason and say, man, are we really putting our officials in the right spot, and are we putting these kids in the right spot? And nothing you can do about it right now, and you just got to keep moving forward. But it's one of those tough situations.
And to follow up, I think the targeting rule has been in place since like 2008.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, right, like the sport was really violent. There was a lot of unnecessary hits on players that were defenseless.
Right.
Now that that's kind of been removed from the game, would you almost like to see that rule legislated a little bit differently with like a flagrant 1, flagrant 2 type system that we see in basketball?
Yeah, I would say probably the answer is yes. Saying that and not being educated on enough to give an answer is probably unfair too, right? I just, I think the situation with Deshaun is obviously really unfortunate, and we'll navigate it as we have to, and then we hope it, like you said, at the end of the season, maybe we can continue to evaluate to get the best rule possible for the whole game.
And one last one for me. Miles Purchase obviously was a little dinged up, but finished the game. I know head injuries sometimes can show up later. Is he okay
Yeah.
for this weekend?
Yeah, he was great. Played great in the second half, and he was really good.
Matt, West Virginia had a tough non-conference schedule. What have they done well that's allowed them to get off to this start in Big 12 play?
Yeah, they're a really good football team, and I think it all starts for them. They've got an elite quarterback. I mean, he's talented, he's tough, he's gritty. And I think every game that he has played in since he's been the quarterback at West Virginia, they've had a chance to win. And, they've got a really talented backfield. Obviously, they're rushing the ball at a really high rate with great success on the offensive side of the football. On defense, they're complex. They do a lot. They really challenge all your rules in terms of offensive football, and they've done a great job of holding teams, against the run and creating some turnovers along the way. And then you look at special teams, they're tough. I think that's the thing that I really appreciate about, the opponent is, man, there's a sense of toughness and pride in everything they do. And so I really just think they played great team football, to be quite honest with you, over the last couple of weeks, and really played that way all season, have had chances to win every one of the games they played.
Kind of going off of that, when you look at particularly their two running backs and having a mobile quarterback, what do you see from your defense that makes them specifically equipped to handle those three guys?
Boy, I don't know. I guess we're going to find out on Saturday, if we are, to be honest. I mean, like, they present a real problem for everybody. And, everybody they played, they have really challenged in terms of what they've been able to do. And, any time you're going to play a great rushing attack, it's going to take all 11 players on the defensive side of the football doing their job first and foremost. And I think anytime the quarterback's got the ability to run, it can put, your defensive rules in conflict really fast, and they do a great job of challenging that.
Sorry, one follow-up. Do you feel like your defense being able to go up against three running backs and sometimes Rocco running the ball in practice might help them prepare for that sort of weakness?
Well, I would just say I would hope that a little bit of our identity of who we like to be at times, has some similarities. And, I think that's probably the uniqueness about this game. I think there are two teams that have a similar approach of how they want to play football. But, again, a lot of credit to what this group's doing, a senior quarterback, two outstanding rushers, and a really good offensive line and tight ends as well.
Two more, one from Ben and then over here. Yeah, I was just thinking back to your days growing up, playing, watching football. Did it bring any joy to you to line up in that power T on Saturday?
Yeah. No, it didn't bring joy of the result. So, but to line up in it is fun. To have a not great result, probably not as fun. I think for us, just trying to continue to use our personnel the best we possibly can to give ourselves a chance to be successful it's fun to be able to have opportunities to create matchups in unique ways right now. And a credit to our staff on offense. I think, we've got some guys that can create some of those matchups. Unfortunately, that play didn't result in it, but it's fun to be in it.
Yeah, Matt, with Rocco, just the evolution of him, it seems like he was pretty good right out of the gate. And given the circumstances that kind of thrust him into that starter's job last year, I mean, how impressive was that to you that he has been so good and dependable just right out of the gate?
I think it says a lot about who he is. I obviously it's really impressive because I think playing quarterback at this level of football, there's just has to be such a maturity to be successful. And, obviously I feel like coaches, you have to have maturity. There's a lot of, there's a lot on your plate. And I think equally you would say the quarterback at every school in the country has a lot on his plate. There's a lot of, conversation about his success and failure, and everybody's got an opinion about all those things. And so I think that's hard. It's mentally hard for a young 18, 19, 20-year-old. And I've always said, if you want to be a great quarterback, you really have to understand, number one, who are you as a person? And what's always impressed me about Rocco Beck is his values as a man, as a person, as a human being. I think our football team recognized that early on in him, to be honest with you. I think there was an unwavering loyalty and support to Rocco Beck from the first day that he took the snap under center for our football program. And, I think why that happens is because of who you are. You can't fake that, right? You can't rah-rah, you can't fake it. You can't just have talent. You got to be a great human. And I think Rocco's starting point will always have been, man, he was a great human being first. He stood for what was right. He was a great leader. And it's allowed him to be able to continue to grow, to be honest with you, too. I think sometimes when you have success, you can lose some of that humility and character. And Rocco has been nothing short of exceptional in challenging himself to continue to grow and be his best, but always lifting his teammates up along with him. So, yeah, I'm really grateful to coach a young man like that, and then obviously really grateful to be able to lead a football program with a young man like that, because obviously when the ball's in your hands, you got a lot of leadership on your plate, and he's done a great job so far for us. Thank you. Yep. Thank you, guys.